Who's actually going to get the most out of a variable speed pool pump, and who should walk away before spending a few $100s? If you're trying to decide whether the Jandy versus FloPro is worth the price tag for a typical backyard pool, you're probably worried about a few things. Will it really cut my electricity bill? Will it fit in the cramped mechanical room I have? And will I end up with a noisy, temperamental motor that needs a technician every month? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the hesitation most people feel when they look at a pump that promises variable speed. The headline sounds great: lower energy use, quieter operation, smarter control, but the reality can feel murky unless you break it down. A traditional single-speed pump runs at full throttle all the time, which means you're paying for power you don't need. The Jandy FloPro replaces that with a motor that can spin anywhere from a whisper quiet low gear up to a full-force high gear, and the SpeedSet Controller lets you dial in exactly what your filtration cycle requires. For someone who runs their pool filter for only an hour or two a day, that flexibility translates directly into lower kilowatt readings on the meter. For a commercial-grade installation or a large lap pool that needs constant turnover, the benefits shrink because you're already operating near the top of the speed range most of the time. Who should buy this? If you own a residential pool that's about 15,000 to 20,000 gallons, you'll probably see the most bang for your buck. Those owners typically have a modest pump run schedule, and the ability to run the FloPro at, say, 1,000 revolutions per minute for routine cleaning and then bump up to 2,500 revolutions per minute for a quick deep circulate after a heavy rain can shave 3,040% off the monthly electricity cost. The dual voltage option 115V or 230V means you can match the pump to whatever wiring you already have, avoiding a costly rewiring job. It also makes the FloPro a decent fit for a cabin pool or a homeowner who's upgrading an older 1 HP single-speed unit and wants a drop-in replacement without tearing out the whole plumbing loop. On the flip side, if you run a larger commercial pool, a community pool with heavy usage, or a private oasis that's kept circulating 24/7, the variable speed advantage diminishes. Those setups often need the pump at higher speeds for longer periods, and the energy savings become marginal. In that case, a higher capacity variable speed model or a dedicated multi-stage system might be a smarter investment. Also, if you're renting or your pool equipment space is truly cramped, think a closet that barely fits a 1 HP motor. The FloPro's compact FloPro design helps, but you still need enough clearance for the controller unit and the wiring. It's not a fit anywhere miracle. You'll need at least a foot of breathing room around the motor housing. Now let's dive into the practical strengths that matter after you've unboxed it and wired it up. The first thing owners notice is the noise level. Because the motor can spin slower, the low-speed setting sounds more like a kitchen exhaust fan than a diesel-like thrum you get from older pumps. In the evenings, when you're having a backyard dinner, that quiet operation is a real quality-of-life upgrade. The second strength is integration. Jandy's SpeedSet Controller talks to the Jandy automation ecosystem, so if you already have a Jandy pool controller for lights, heater, and chemical dosing, you can schedule pump cycles from the same app. That eliminates the need to juggle separate timers or manual switches and gives you the ability to set a summer mode where the pump runs at a reduced speed for most of the day and kicks up for a brief high-speed burst before sunset. Energy consumption reduction is the headline claim, but the actual savings depend on how you program the pump. One practical tip I've seen in forums is to run the pump at its lowest effective speed for the bulk of the day and then schedule a 15-minute high-speed run right before you plan to swim. That high-speed burst clears any debris that has settled and ensures the water is clear when you jump in. If you ignore that scheduling and simply let the pump sit at a middle speed all the time, you'll still save compared to a single-speed pump, but you won't be maximizing the technology. The controller's LCD screen makes those adjustments painless. You don't need a PhD in fluid dynamics to set a 1,200 revolutions per minute cycle versus a 2,200 revolutions per minute cycle. There are a few weaknesses you need to keep in mind before you hand over your credit card. The variable speed motor uses a more sophisticated electronic controller, which means there's an extra component that can fail. In the 2 ratings the product currently has on Amazon, the overall star rating is high, but the sample size is tiny, so you won't find many user-reported failures yet. That said, any electronic device exposed to the humidity of a pool environment can develop